Hello, folks. Today we're here to talk about the why, what, and how of evaluation. We're going to start with why evaluation matters. So, accessibility is about people. It isn't about perfection. Evaluation helps us make sure our materials actually work for the wide range of learners we support. Automated tools are great at catching technical issues like missing alt text or heading structure, but only people can assess things like clarity, tone, and meaning. That's why we need both automated checkers for quick scans and human judgment to evaluate usability. It's this layered approach that makes accessibility real, not just technical. The need for accessibility is clear. Among academic PDFs, fewer than 1 in 20 meet all accessibility criteria, and nearly 95% of the world's top websites still have detectable WCAG 2 failures. Evaluation isn't just a nice to have, it's essential if we want our content to be inclusive by design. So, what do we evaluate? What exactly are these automated accessibility tools checking for? Let's start with the built-in checkers, like the one in Microsoft Word or Quarkus Rich Content Editor. These tools scan your document or page and flag issues like missing or incorrect heading styles, images without alt text, low color contrast, and table structure issues like missing headers. Microsoft's checker mostly focuses on formatting and structure. The Quarkus tool goes a bit further. It can flag long headings, adjacent links, or missing list formatting. These tools are really helpful for spotting technical gaps and giving you actionable next steps, but they only catch part of the picture. Automated checkers can't assess meaning, clarity, or how easy something is to navigate. They won't catch awkward phrasing, overwhelming layout, or unclear instructions. They also fall short when evaluating things like captions and transcripts, color use in charts, or whether visual hierarchy actually supports comprehension. That's why we pair automation with human judgment. It's not just about assistive technology, it's about designing content that works well for everyone. Ideally, the human check is done by someone familiar with accessibility principles, but a colleague reviewing for clarity can review barriers we may not notice ourselves. So, how to evaluate? Let's see what these tools look like in action. So let's start with Word. It has a built-in accessibility checker that's easy to use and surprisingly powerful. You'll find a checker under the Review tab. Select Check Accessibility, which opens a pane on the right-hand side where Word will list any accessibility issues it detects in your document. Each issue comes with a brief explanation and suggestions for how to fix it. So it's a helpful learning tool as well as a checker. Remember, this tool is great for scanning, formatting, and structural issues, but it doesn't evaluate whether your content is clear or meaningful. That's why we always combine it with human review. When you run the Microsoft Accessibility Checker, it classifies the inspection results into 4 categories. Error means that the content is very hard or impossible to read or use. For example, missing alt text or missing table heading. Warning is still important. These are things that might be hard to understand for some users, like complex table structures with merged or split cells or insufficient contrast between text and background. Tip suggests ways to make your content even more accessible, like using heading styles. And intelligence services is Microsoft's way of saying, we've tried to help with AI, but you still need to review this. For example, it might try to auto-generate alt text, but that still needs a human to check for accuracy and context. So this classification helps you prioritize. Fix errors first, then work your way through the rest. Now let's look at how the accessibility checker works within Quarkus using the rich content editor. This is the editor you use when adding content in things like pages, assignments, announcements, or discussions. In the toolbar, select the person with a circle icon, that's the accessibility checker. When you select the accessibility checker icon, a sidebar opens on the right showing any issues it detects. From there, you can review and fix issues directly, such as adding alt text or fixing heading levels. This tool is quick and easy to use, especially if you're building content directly in Quarkus. It doesn't catch everything, but it's a great first step. So let's wrap up with three big takeaways. First, accessibility is about people. Tools and guidelines are important, but our goal is always to make content clearer, more usable, and more inclusive for the real humans interacting with it. Second, built-in accessibility checkers like those in Word or Quarkus are a great way to get started. They catch many common issues and give you actionable steps, so use them early and often. But third, checkers only go so far. Real accessibility requires human judgment. Things like confusing layouts, unclear instructions, or awkward navigation might pass a checker but still present barriers. That's why pairing tools and thoughtful human review is key. In short, let the tools help, but never hand off the responsibility. You are the best judge of how to make your content work for your learners.